Hello, 'tis Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Are you alright there, Miss Moneypenny?
Funny fucker. Oh,
Don't be swearing. You'll never hear me swear.
sorry.
Wednesday. Yeah, we're flying along. Room's starting to come into shape. So today, we, as I touched on yesterday, legacy bottles. I mean, we're starting to get these bottles. They come out of the presses and the woodwork being usually it, coming out of the posh sitting room. I don't know about many of you people growing up all around the world, but in Ireland you always had the good sitting room that nobody used.
That was only used for Christmas and when the priest came.
And when the priest came. Priest never came to my house, strangely enough, growing up. Antichrist. Wasn't allowed in the house. But a lot of people would have had a nice bottle of whiskey for when the priest came or for the good occasion or whatever.
Posh visitor.
Posh visitor, exactly. And it never, the truth of the matter is, in a lot of these instances, it never came. The good day never came, or special occasion never came. And that's one of the things that we talk to even people that's collecting these days. They sort of say about, I'm keeping that for a special occasion. You know, they have an old bottle of Middleton or something like that. And it is to be drank. I mean, primarily the purpose of whiskey is to be a social drink for you to sit round, to enjoy with family, friends and all that sort of stuff. Of course, I advocate collecting it as well, but I do my fair share of drinking as well. So I do have, fairness. It is nice to sit round, to talk to people, enjoy it. Yeah. That's one of the things I love about the societies and all that. Again, it's people tasting whiskies that maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to taste at other times, or lots of bars around Ireland, not just Dublin, but lots of bars around Ireland that have whiskies there that you just can't get. You wouldn't have at home, or you wouldn't have
that
open
is
or
true.
stuff.
And that's why they do whiskey flights.
And that's why they do whiskey flights as well. Yeah. So look, whiskey's for drinking. You know, it is nice to taste it, but as I say, a lot of these bottles are now coming out of the woodwork because, you know, in conversation, people are hearing, did you hear such and such bottle sold for such and such a price, or the case may be, and then people are going, I wonder what mine is worth. And we get an awful lot of people coming to us, and we get them to send us photos, or in some instances we actually get physically hands on the bottle to try and come up with a value. Our great team here do some fantastic homework, so much so that times like Robert, I nearly have to stop him, because he just goes down a rabbit hole and he gets so, chases it and chases it and chases it and chases it. And we won yesterday where I sort of had to go, right, okay.
And now he has an enabler.
Now he has an enabler, yeah, you're right. And we just have to sort of arrest that as well. No, Sinead's fairly good at doing her homework as well. So
that's what I mean. Enabler.
There's a pair of them in it. Today, Sinead, if you swing around there, we're talking about the legacy bottles, which I just mentioned. We'll start at this end. The mythical Dungorney 1964 from the Lost Casks of Middleton. I think it's the only way to describe it. The story, anybody that doesn't know the story of
Found by Indiana Jones.
Found by Indiana Jones on an archaeological survey. These were found when there was renovation being worked on in Middleton, when they were building the new distillery. Apparently there was casks that weren't on any paperwork. Supposedly at the time it was a single cask. They found it and they've bottled it, and it was originally laid down in 1964.
And then they found a few more behind the bicycle shed.
I reckon there was a few more found, because I've seen bottle number 1500. So either it was an IBC or there was an oil tanker hiding behind a wall that nobody knew was there. Again, it doesn't say a lot for the old system of recording. I mean,
no.
I wonder if was there a customs man taken out and flogged over that. Or maybe he had squirreled it away for himself and, not saying that any customs man would ever do anything with that, of course. Willie Napier, 1944. This is a weird one. It really is a weird one. We sold one of them previously, and I had sort of said to people, why don't people get more excited about these bottles? Because the only other Irish bottle with an age statement that old on it is the Middleton and Silent Distilleries. Yes. Now the three of them. So that's a 45-year-old, 46-year-old and 47-year-old. Well, the new 47-year-old is going for €45,000.
No.
That's nowhere near it.
I know.
It should be, no, I'm not saying it should be €40,000, but it should have a good price. Now, unfortunately, this box does have a little bit of damage. There's a bit of damage on the hinges there. A good woodworker or a good antique restorer would probably be able to fix it for you. But again, that's the presentation of them. Bottle of Willie Napier with 2 Glencairn glasses in it. There's only 114 bottles apparently. So again, in the release of them, there's very few bottles. I mean, there's 97 bottles of the new Silent Distillery. There's only 114 of that. There's only 117 Middleton Pearls. And again, it just goes to show what people value. And I mean, it's the brand, it's the name, it's Middleton that carries it. But this was again distilled by Daly's in the old Tullamore distillery. It was bottled and acquired in 1945 by Willie Napier, the Central Bar in Lisburn in County Northern Ireland. Wednesday. Northern Ireland. So again, I think that's a cracking bottle for anybody to have in their collection. Again, one of the ones that flies under the radar is Ali Alpine and what he has done for Irish whiskey. The Celtic Cask collection, I believe, is a seriously, and I mean seriously, undervalued collection.
100%.
What it's done, I mean, only this year it won Best Whiskey of the Year with the Irish Whiskey Awards, or last year. But I mean, he has been curating and producing some fantastic stuff. I mean, some of them are really, really limited editions and that. But that is number 10. That is the number 1. And that was when it came out. Again, talking about legacies, I mean, we can't ignore the elephants in the room. Middleton, very rare. I mean, they're just a monster. They just are a monster. The amount of people that are collecting Middleton collections in various guises, either from, you know, the Barry Crockett years or the Brian Nation years or the full collection or whatever the case may be. After last month, we sold in 1989 last month. It was bottle number 2. It went for over €19,000. Top dollar. Really is top dollar. We have another 89 in this month's auction, but we also have bottle number 2 of the 1986. So we have in this month's auction, we have 84, 85, 86, 87, no 88, but there is an 89 there as well. So you've got the early Middleton collection. I mean, it's a rare opportunity to get them as well. And Napog Castle, another one of these legacy whiskies that I think doesn't get enough love. I wonder, and I'm sitting it here beside Middleton because I'm just alluding to that Napog was part of the brands, was one of the brands that was bought up by IDL Pernod Ricard. So again, the old legacy Napog Castles, are they going to be worth money? I mean, that's bottle number 12 of cask number 7, bottled and bond in 1987, and a 36-year-old whiskey again, with an age statement on the front of it. I just don't think it gets the love that it should. It really don't. I think a lot of the Napogs... Now, the problem with Napog Castles, like the likes of the 51, the presentations were so higgledy-piggledy. One would come in a nice velvet-lined box, and another one would be something that was made by glued together by a second-year secondary student who was in his woodworking class for the first time. So some of them are really, really rough and ready. But there's no disputing that the whiskey itself has history, has legacy. Very few people have a 51 open. I know a friend Tim in New York has one of them open, and there's only a few bars with 1951s open as well. So it is a rare opportunity to get that. I may one of these days. Yeah, look, ultimately that's what it's for. I mean, drinking. Jameson. Sinead, I put the Jameson up there because there's no bigger name in Irish history than Jameson. I mean, it's now driving the sales all over the world. It's the forerunner into a lot of countries that the rest of the Irish whiskey industry is rushing to backfill behind. But they are the behemoth. And they just don't stop. I mean, they could sit down on their hands and knees and say, we make Jameson, and they just sell lorry loads of it.
Yeah.
But they're always innovating. They're always coming up with different things. I mean, they don't always get the love that they should. The likes of the new 15-year-old pot still. I mean, people scowl and give out about the presentation. The old 15 pure pot still is probably one of the best pot stills out there. The Vintage Reserve, I mean, Rarest Vintage Reserve, there's one of them there. That's in the old wooden box as well. They're highly sought after, and rightly so. But also the likes of the Gold Reserve and the 12-year-old Special Reserve. those 12-year-old special reserves have been getting great money lately, and it's another good one to have in your collection. But from them comes these things. So you have things like the cask mates that everybody was, going mental over, putting the cask mates. And again, there's probably less cask mates full collections than there is Middleton Very Rare full collections.
Yes.
That's how rare these things are. And when people get the likes of the Great Divide from Colorado, they were the ones that nobody could get. So there's probably only, I would say, if there's a dozen full collections in the world, that'd be about it.
Yeah.
Whereas, off the top of my head, I could recite 12 Middleton collections easily, But these are the new ones. These are part of the new breed. So you've got Sydney, Paris, Bangkok, Moscow and Singapore. And
They're
these are
cool,
little
actually.
bottles. They're cool bottles. Now, I presume they're just regular Jameson triple distilled blended whiskey in it. But celebrate the great urban city editions. There you go.
Yeah.
But the lovely presentation, lovely colourful labels. Again, they look impressive on a collection. I don't think they're a massively expensive collection to have, but I think another good one to have as well.
They are very good at doing wacky labels and coming up with mental ideas.
But that's what I say. Like they could,
and for just their standard liquid, not for anything
sit
fancy.
on the hands. And I think that's what threw people off with the Great Divide and the other ones, is that it was just sort of, to them, they just seen it as another bottle of Jameson on the wall, on the shelf, and people sort of, it was $20-$30 I think in America at the time, and nobody gave it the time of day. Whereas now, I mean, the price of a Great Divide is well north of €1,000 for a €30 bottle of whiskey. It's insane. It is insane. So that's it. Bit of a talk about, as I say, our distilling heritage. Some of the old bottles that's there that I don't think get enough love. I mean, look, I'll never have to work hard to talk about to sell Middleton Very Rare, but there is other ones out there, and I think that's one people get maybe tunnel vision at times, as they see Middleton Very Rare as the be all and end all, whereas my take on it would be like a full Celtic cask collection. There's not that many of them out there.
Oh God, no.
There's genuinely not that many of them out there. The old legacy Napogs, I mean, again, there's not many of them out there. 114 Willie Napiers. I mean, there's less Willie Napiers than there is Pearls. I mean, that's how rare that is. It's not far off the new Silent Distillery 3.
That is true.
And again, it's 44-year-old pot still whiskey from the old Dailies of Tullamore, so a great one to have. And then the mythical, I think there's a unicorn horn coming out the top of it there, and it's got wings as well, the Dungorney. I just, the story just bugs me. It really does bug me every time I hear it as well.
But we're Irish, we're full of magic. It could have just magically...
Full of something, and it's not magic. A bit too much of the blarney,
Possibly.
Right, that's it. Today is Wednesday, as we said. Tomorrow we're probably going to look at God knows, because I haven't a clue. But we'll discover something tomorrow morning and we'll talk about it then. All right.
So we'll talk to you then.
Friday live at 5, and until then, fare thee well. Bye.
Bye.